Rishil Africa Zonga, Africa and the diaspora, and thanks very much for tuning in to yet another episode of the EFF Podcast. My name is Titus. And as you know, we are at Winima Digzela Mandela House, and today I'm joined by the Mpumalanga Provincial Chairperson, Commissar Collen Sedibe. Commissar, thank you very much for making time and welcome to the EFF Podcast.
Thank you very much, Titus, and I feel happy to be here today.
Yeah. And you're quite busy, Commissar, coming from the province of the rising sun. And now I understand corruption is quite rough and in fact, it's quite rife, rather. And you've been busy trying to nip it in the bud. Just talk to us about the state of corruption in Mpumalanga. The EFF now has been vindicated in the procurement of 22 laptops for 2 million saga. And this is corroborated by the outcome of the investigation, which was conducted by the Office of the Premier in Mpumalanga. What can you tell us about what transpired and which role really did the EFF play in exposing this saga?
Okay, thank you, Titus. Well, indeed, corruption is very rife in Mpumalanga. It is institutionalized from the provincial government departments to the local municipalities. It's very worse. Now, our role as the EFF is to hold the executive accountable. And we are guided by our finding manifesto, in particular, in this case of corruption, non-negotiable cardinal pillar, number 7, which talks about the fight for a corrupt, free, open, transparent, and accountable government to the people without fear of victimization. That's what we are doing, because we are inspired by that cardinal pillar. So with regard to the issue of the laptop heist, if we can call it, because that's the biggest laptop heist ever in the history of government in South Africa. We uncovered the corruption through the whistleblowers within the department, because what we do is that in all the provincial departments and even in municipalities, we're spying on them. We've got our own spies that works there. That does not tolerate corruption. So every time there are those things, we talk to them to bring them information to us. And they do it very well, I can tell you. We've got a lot of such issues that comes to us, and we raise it with the legislature in the form of oral questions if it relates to provincial departments. If it relates to the local municipalities, we write to the MEC for COGTA, and if the responses are not satisfied, rather, by the responses, then we write to Public Protector, SIU. We even move to an extent of opening cases of corruption and fraud against others. So that's the work that the people elected us to do in those institutions as the EFF. And we encourage others, even in the municipalities, to hold the bull by its horn and make sure that the ruling party does not do as it wishes, more especially with regards to the purse or the taxpayers' money, because we have seen that corruption robs us of quality service delivery. And we also align ourselves with the Auditor General's report, because every time it finds them on the wrong side of the law. Lot of the unwanted expenditures, the irregular, wasteful, fruitless, unauthorized, all of that, but no consequence management that is happening to the transgressors. So we have to come in
Sure.
as the EFF and as the opposition party to make sure that those transgressors are held accountable as well. Because what we have realized is that even if the constitution and some piece of legislation empowers the MECs and the HODs or mayors or municipalities to open cases against transgressors, they don't do that because of favoritism and obviously because of the ANC cadre deployment police.
Sure.
That these are deployed cadres of the ANC. So we can't chase each other like that,
Sure.
which is not correct. So
Yeah.
we're happy with the report presented or delivered by the Premier about the 2 million laptop heist, because the findings has vindicated us indeed that we're not telling a lie. So
Sure.
what we do is that we don't forge evidence. We collect evidence and verify evidence and seek more evidence before we expose corruption
Sure.
where it raises its ugly head.
Absolutely. And Commissar, just share with us and paint a picture of how the EFF uncovered this fraud, this fraudulent procurement when it relates to the purchasing of the 22 laptops for 2 million. I mean, at face value, it's quite glaring. I mean, one laptop is valued at or is priced at, I think, over 91,000 rand. Now, can you just share with us some of the processes that the EFF has undertaken to expose this saga, the process of finding out, the steps that you have taken? Have you released statement? Have you reported the matter and all of that?
Yeah. Well, it started with the whistleblower giving us the information, the evidence.
Okay.
That there is corruption that took place there.
Okay.
And that evidence was substantial and satisfactory in the form of an order and all those companies that bidded and the signatures from the CFOs and HODs and officials. And then we kept it on our own or to our own, and then we then raise questions in the legislature in the form of oral questions to the MEC. So where you see the MEC replying to say the laptop was 91,000, it was not in line of this. It's the questions that we asked her as oral question to the MEC. But by that time, we kept our information. So we wanted to see whether she will be honest and so forth.
Waiting for the right time to attack.
The right time. But that was the beginning of it.
Sure, yeah.
And then we said, good, now that it just started, we took the matter to the public protector. And then the Premier then intervened immediately because the noise started and said, no, I'll institute an investigation through his integrity management unit, which is housed in his office as the Premier. So there are forensic auditors and experts in that office, auditors and lawyers. That's why the report is very beautiful. It talks to what we have already.
Sure.
That's why we don't have a problem with it. But we are also happy that the Premier himself said that from here, and then police must come in, meaning they must be arrested. And then we issued a statement as the EFF that it's not the duty of the opposition to open cases against transgressors, cases of corruption and fraud and so. If you walk the talk as the Premier, you must go and open the case yourself, because the report is out and it's clear that officials are involved, including the HOD. And then he also said that he will deal with the governance review which involves the politician, because this report must be separated into. So what they presented now, it was um, the administrative part, and then it's coming to the political head, because upon our investigation and with our reliable sources, we know that the MEC is directly involved. And we have also provided the proof with regard to that in the form of letters written by the MEC removing official from finance, supply chain, and IT, where the procurement is being done. And those are senior, competent, and experienced and qualified officials. Accountants, some of them, auditors, some of them, IT specialists, some of them. And then she replaced them with the less qualified, inexperienced, and incompetent officials who does not even qualify to be on those positions, because they are at level NQF level 5, meaning you can't be a director, because to be a director you must be at least
That's
at
metric,
level.
Mus.
That's metric,
Yeah.
essentially. You must be, to be a director, you must be at level 7 going up, and so forth. And we have that information. And we then said to the premier, you must also investigate the MEC. So it's what he's saying is busy with now, because in his press briefing, he
Yes.
also indicated in his own words that I'm coming for governance review, because the political aid, which the MEC was supposed to play an oversight role, which is one of their function to the department. And whereas the MEC also received the laptop, but upon realizing that there's noise that started, because these questions, we send them 6 weeks before we are going to sit. So they arrive first before they come and answer in the register. So already she was awakened by those questions that we sent, that something is not right, and she returned the laptop. But they didn't tell the others official to say.
She returned to who?
She returned it to the department, to the IT section, to say, no, I don't want this laptop.
Okay.
I'll continue with my laptop. But she was using it. But that is after our question has arrived and on her table for her to respond and so forth. So the other issue is that she didn't act. Returning the laptop alone is not enough. You must act to say, but can we launch an investigation? How much did you buy this laptop? Where, and so forth? Why so much? Who were involved? All those things. She didn't do that because she was part. So upon the investigation, some officials, because now they are afraid to be fired at their work, whom she put on those positions of supply chain.
They're spilling the beans now.
They're spilling their beans to say even the service providers were given by the MEC.
Ziyakhala manje.
You see, so we are vindicated like that.
Yeah. Okay, Commissar. So we are often told that the MECs or members of the executive are political heads where they are deployed in government departments, and they are not necessarily involved in the supply chain management and procurement processes, which I believe or suspect it could be used as their defense, even in this case, to say, I'm a political head, I'm not involved in the procurement processes and all of that. And I'm glad that the Executive Council of the Provincial Government of Mpumalanga has already committed to implement the recommendations from the outcome of the investigation into this saga, and they have committed to ensure that all implicated officials, including the HOD, are held accountable. What avenues are you going to explore to ensure that the MEC is also held accountable in this regard?
No, the name of the MEC is there.
Mhm,
The name of the HOT and the 7 other officials is there.
mhm,
Governance review means that the one entrusted with the political powers to head the department must now account.
Mm.
That's what it means. And that's what the Premier said in his own words. So they were not going to mix the allocation against her with the allocation of the laptop. First, it was to establish whether the corruption has happened,
mhm,
which it has been established and proven beyond reasonable doubt. Now that there's substantial evidence that the corruption has happened, and then who are we dealing with? Who are the culprits? First culprits, they've been identified. The HOT, the CFOs, the supply chain guys, and others. And then the next culprit, because the investigation is ongoing. That's why he said in a month time, in June, I will come back with another report in terms of the consequence management, what happened to the HOTs and other officials, which we expect suspension. We expect them to be charged and suspended and to be subjected to internal disciplinary hearings in line with the labor law. But we also expect him, as he have said, in his own way, that police must kick in to open the case. So the second part is that of governance review, where the MEC allegation have been leveled, and she must then answer the question directly to the Premier, because she is appointed by the Premier about all the allegations. We have sent the Premier evidence about headings, the links of the MEC with the service providers in a form of video footages where we caught her red-handed with the businessman that's making business. That is also involved on that.
Can we play the videos now? Can we play those videos on the podcast?
Well,
or we're going to table with the investigation.
Yeah, maybe afterwards, but they are there. We have
Okay,
them.
sure.
And in different venues. One, it was in Zebula. We can talk about it, where we normally hold our CCT meeting recently. The other one was in the Capital on the Park there in Centon. With the same businessman. A known IT man was doing business with the government. That's the one who captured the MEC, and even this halabaloo of the laptops, he is at the center of that. Yeah.
So, in fact, I'm wrong by saying members of the executive are not actually involved in the procurement process. She was involved.
We are correct. They are not supposed to be involved by law.
By law, yeah.
Yeah, PFMA does not allow them. It separate powers of the executive authority and the accounting officers. Everything administrative is accounting officers. We are HOTs in the provincial departments. We are DGs in the national departments, and municipal managers in the local municipalities. So, or metro city managers. So, they were not supposed to be involved. Others is to give political directive and do oversight over the functioning.
But the evidence that you have suggests that she was involved.
She interfered because the fact that she wrote the letters herself without authority to remove those officials from supply chain and replace them, that is interference.
Sure.
With the supply chain processes, with the procurement process. Because immediately after that happened, after the removal of those officials who has been there, and this corruption has never happened in their presence, then boom, this corruption happens under the officials who are appointed by her, who are less qualified, incompetent, and inexperienced. So you can see that that was a deliberate move, well orchestrated plan for that haste. That to hit this haste, we must move these ones and bring these ones so that they can move the paperwork smoothly without trace. Unfortunately, we caught them.
Yeah, and talking about her being caught red-handed, Commissar, when actually did she interfere with the processes, the procurement processes, and appointing of these unqualified officials? And would you then say uh, she has done so deliberately to pave her way into interfering with the procurement processes? Do you know when did she start paving way?
You know, that MEC first on her first meeting with the management,
Mhm.
she told the management that issue was also public uh, on TV and so forth and papers.
Mhm.
She told the management in her first meeting as an MEC that she does not want a particular service provider. Why did they appoint that particular service provider instead of this service provider? And then she requested all tenders
Mhm.
that are outstanding or are in the pipeline to be submitted to her. That is interference because that is not that we are deployed to go and do there. And then it started there. Within a month after her appointment as an MEC, or days, not even month. And then we started following her up there. So it didn't end there. Even when I think the leadership of his party, her own party,
Mhm.
called her to say that is not done. But she arrogantly continued like that until now. So unfortunately, we're spying on her, following her steps, what she's doing, with who, and so forth. That's why we've got tangible evidence that she's directly involved in this corruption.
Mhm.
Yeah.
With the evidence at hand, Commissar, what action do you want taken against the implicated officials, including the MEC?
Well, they must be charged first, be subjected to disciplinary hearings, and be dismissed.
Mm.
Even it's worse with the MEC because they've got their own policy in her organization called step aside.
The step aside, yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
So if the report of the premier find her implicated and if she is charged by the SAPS for that corruption, she must step aside as an MEC. But what they can do early, because if they are honest that they are fighting corruption as the ruling part, they must recall her with immediate effect. They must not even wait for the charges and so forth, with the evidence that they have at their disposal, including the one coming from the official who are now spilling the beans. I'm telling even the service provider is spilling the beans, but I don't know him, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Was going to consult him to say, do it so that you save yourself. So that's what we expect because we must remove all rotten potatoes, not only political or in the executive, but also in the administration because we can't tolerate corruption anymore.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do you think this is the first time um, fraud of this nature or an event of this nature occur in the Department of Basic Education, or rather education in Mpumalanga, or this time around they were found wanting and uh, they couldn't hide it any further?
Yeah, you might find that it has been happening.
Mhm.
And we have, as the caucus of the EFF, decided that when we go to our next sitting,
Mhm.
we will call on the premier to uh, institute the similar investigation in all the departments
Uh-huh.
and check
Uh-huh.
whether
Mhm.
this thing has not been a trend in all the departments. Um, uh, when they're not all buying this kind of expensive laptop, we need the report department per department.
Sure.
Yeah, we have no doubt that it has been happening because ballooning of prices is um, it's a simple or common corruption within the government officials, because they know that it becomes difficult uh, for authorities to follow it up, or even us as legislature to can easily pick it up. We rely on whistle blowers
Mm.
because there's a lot happening there. But
Yeah.
it's been there. It's happening even in the municipalities, uh, even in the infrastructure department. You find that the actual price of a road in terms of the bill of quantity in the language of engineers and so forth
Mhm.
um, was costing 3 million per kilometer. But once, according to the appointment, it's like that. That's the price. But when times goes on and payment are made,
They
you
inflate the
find
prices.
that a kilometer was paid for 7 million.
Mm.
That's how they do it. And some they will tell you about variation orders that no, there were natural factors, rain, and so forth. And then the project has to wait and what, and so forth. But they know how to steal these people.
Mm. It is their modus operandi.
They are modus operandi,
Mhm.
professional thieves.
Mm.
Yeah, I cannot say it's white collar criminals because they're stealing from the poor.
Mm.
Yes.
And that, which is why the EFF is saying that let's abolish the tenders and build state capacity, because tenders are prone to corruption, Commissar.
That's true. And that is evident by every Auditor General's report, every financial year, after financial year.
Mhm.
It points to supply chain management as the main cause of irregular expenditure,
Mhm.
fruitless expenditure, and all sort of the unwanted expenditures
Mhm.
all
Sure.
the time.
Mhm.
And audit, you can go to any uh, um, Auditor General's report from 24, 23 going down. You'll pick up that point repeatedly.
Mhm.
And that means it agrees with the EFF stance
Mhm.
or cardinal pillar number 3 on
Mhm.
the abolishment of tenders
Mhm.
and building of state capacity.
Yeah.
Tenders are the one who, which makes corruption is the enrobe people of the service delivery that they need, especially quality service delivery.
Mm. Talking about service delivery, Commissar, how is the state of education and the infrastructure of schools in Mpumalanga? Because now it begs the question: does the MEC have the interest of the people at heart, considering the state of the infrastructure, pit latrines in Mpumalanga, and all of that?
It's worse. It's very bad. We still have children learning under the trees in the areas of Bushbuck Ridge. We still have children learning under mud schools in the areas of Mkondo. We still have schools that does not have roofs because it was washed away by the disaster. As we speak, we've got a lot of complaints on the table about shortage of desks in the classroom and shortage of classrooms in secondary school. So many learners wrote their first quarter assessment standing on their feet because there are no desks. They sit on top of each other. They can't share even a desk. And we raise those issues. We give them that issues that Guane Secondary School in Barberton does not have desk. We were there because as EFF we adopt schools, and during the school reopening we visit the schools. And the principals and teachers, and even school governing bodies, they give us these issues to say, EFF, can we intervene? We have a school here which was built by the community on its own in 1971. And in Tulamash, the government can't come and build a new school. This school is old and dilapidated, can fall anytime. They don't do that. So they are failing up. The infrastructure is worse. Pit Latin toilet, they are still there in Mpumalanga. There was a report recently. I think they are left with 1,800. It's too many. Because within those 1,800, we can lose our children because they are old. So we said we must eradicate the pit Latin in totality. But it has since not happened. And I don't see it happening with this MEC, who is just failing to provide desk for the learners.
And the 2 million could have been very instrumental in addressing some of the infrastructure backlog in schools.
That's true. Because on top of the 2 million, there's a 24 million of laptops as well. The reason why I'm not making noise about that is because the specifications are in line.
Okay.
But they were buying them for principal and circuit managers. Why didn't they prioritize the desk? Principals can buy their own laptop, iPad, and so forth. It's not a problem. Because there are no desks in the school. There are shortages of classroom. In other areas, there are shortages of school altogether. I'm talking about something that I can give you a proof in terms of photos. A roof dishwasher away, it must be replaced. Instead, they put a sail on top of the roof. There's no congregated irons or roof for that school.
It's bad.
That's the conditions that our learners are subjected to. Yes.
And now, when you look at the saga, the 2 million, you call it the laptop heist, the Commissar.
Yeah.
This heist, now we look at the report. The report points out that the delivery of the laptops was not in line with the specification. Did you get any opportunity to have a look at these laptops? Obviously, by the report, there was no value for money.
Yeah, we have that report. So that evidence, we have it. That the reason we're agreeing with that report is that by the investigation, is that all that they're raising, we have it as our own evidence. We're ready. We just wanted to hear what is their response. Fortunately, they responded accordingly.
Yeah.
So the specification that was required, it was for XPS 13. But sorry, XPS 15. But the product or goods delivered is XPS 13. Without the program and so forth. Yeah. It's like ordering an iPhone 15
They give you
Because you
iPhone
know
11.
phones, yeah. And bring in an iPhone 11. They are not the same and so forth. The other one's life has ended,
Yeah.
you see, because the life span of those things, they phase away
Sure.
gradually. So,
And the value, of course.
and you know why they did that? There's a director who's an IT specialist, director IT
Mhm.
services. She was also part of the people or officials who were removed. And she is the one who did the specification. Now they bring a junior to replace her because they took her to transversal and go and do something.
Mhm.
Uh,
In fact, they brought a lapdog that they can control.
the lapdog that can control. And that lapdog go and receive the laptops, the wrong laptops.
Mm.
That is not in line with the specification. So you see that because we are no longer there. Because the person who was supposed to receive the laptop was the person who have made the specification.
Mhm.
And they didn't even share with her, it's a she, the information whether about the procurement so that she can advise them technical to say, no, this is too expensive. We can't go for that. But to show that there was a well-planned corruption, the quotation that they requested, the 6 that they responded, it's a lie that they use CETA processes. They took companies that are on CETA, yes, but they didn't say to CETA, we want laptops, please do quotation and procure for us. They didn't, what they were supposed to do.
Mhm.
So the 6 companies that responded, you can see that it comes from one person. 2 of them cost 2 million. Sorry, 2 of them cost 3 million.
Sure.
They just differ a little bit. The price 3.5 million, 3.4 million. The other 2 quote for 2 million, 2 million, but 258 million, 2 million 300. The other 2 quote for 1.8 million, 1.8 million. They differ in the rands and cents. Ne?
Mm.
So
Mhm.
you can see that this thing is cooked. And
Dog
in the process,
Mhm.
where they made a mistake, they still take 2 million instead of the 1 million. While the Preferential Procurement Act says you must take the lowest. Again, it's a quote.
Mhm.
Why must you take the highest when there's the cheapest on the same thing?
Mm.
So that's where you see that.
And to show that or to demonstrate that indeed it was cooked, the officials didn't go outside the Mbombela municipality or vicinity to look for other service providers or brands.
Yes, they didn't because remember I told you that the MEC is conniving with that IT service provider. That guy was caught with on the video footage all the time.
So this thing
And
was
IT
well orchestrated.
well orchestrated.
Mm.
That's why they do it here. You cannot be surprised to find that the directors of the companies is one person. We just didn't have time to check that, but we can still check. It's an easy thing. Get someone from CPRO, check for us who's the director of this company and so forth. They give.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Before we talk about the way forward, Commissar, the report goes further to say the service provider should be blacklisted. Is that punitive enough? Will it nip corruption in the bud, or it's just they're just playing to the gallery? Mhm.
Well, so excuse me.
Mhm.
Uh, Look, if you are a businessman, credible businessman, you'll make sure that your company has got credibility and integrity.
Mhm.
You can't compromise the credibility and integrity of your company because that's your business, which you make living with and which you'll want to see grow to a level of Bokijima one day
Mhm.
and so forth. Why do you allow officials to use you to do such a simple, useless corruption? as the director of the company. So he has costed himself. He must be removed from all the system. What do they say? Blacklisted.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, that's law by the National Treasury Regulation. Many companies that does the same, or they don't finish the work, do dodgy work and so forth. The National Treasury has got the right to blacklist them, and then they will not do any work with government anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's the law.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's enough. I think
Sure.
that's all they can do.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Fellow poor men will have to start afresh.
Sure. And now, what is the way forward, Commissar, with the evidence that you have at hand? And what is the next step? What is actually the way forward? Are we waiting for the next phase of the investigation or the outcome of the investigation to be announced by the premier?
Yeah, no, we've given the premier all the evidence,
Mm-hmm.
and we made it clear in one sitting.
Mm-hmm.
When we asked him a question to say, we give you information of corrupt tangible about
Mm-hmm.
this MEC, but we are
Mm-hmm.
not acting,
Mm-hmm.
meaning we are not walking the talk as the premier. And then she committed that no, he committed sorry that I'll be busy with it. I'm still consulting and applying my mind. So we will wait a bit, but we have in the meantime taken it to public protect,
Sure.
and he has spoken about taking it to, or bringing in SAPS. We don't have to fight about that. It does not matter who opened the case, as long as the case is open.
Mm-hmm.
We'll allow him to do that, and then so that he acts. But if it does not act, we know we are armed with all evidence to can take the matter forward.
Mhm. In the context of corruption in Mpumalanga, now the SIU is hot and on the heels of those who are on the wrong side of the law. We understand now SIU is probing the allegation of tender irregularities in the Mbombela local municipality. What do you know about this investigation, Commissar? And as the EFF, what have you done so far?
We know very well. We are very much aware about those investigations because we are involved as the EFF. This investigation ranged from 2016 when we first entered in the council uh, of Bombela as the EFF
Mm-hmm.
after the 2016 local government election. We had a very vibrant and active EFF caucus then. But they go up until now. So we are at the center of exposing corruption. Everywhere you see the SIU coming in, a public protector coming in, there's no DA, there's no any other, but it's EFF. So including the issue of unqualified officials.
Sure.
I don't know whether I'm ahead of you,
No,
but
it's fine.
we are the one who are always exposing them in all the institutions,
Mhm.
either municipalities or provincial government. So we are fully aware. The only problem we're having with the SIU is that it takes too long. It takes too long, and some culprits, you'll find that they are no more, either by death or I know if we have just relocated, it's easy to find you, but it does not make the case having carrying a weight. And now they delayed along to issue a report. So I doubt their capacity. You see, if Hawks and SIU and even Public Project can have the capacity of that premier's integrity management unit in terms of speed, they committed to finalize the report in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, they finalized the report, and the findings are
Sure.
sober.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what's the challenge of the SIU and Hawks with regards to that.
Sure.
That we've got a lot and lot of cases
Mm-hmm.
that we have opened since 2014. Some they are still not finalized, and so forth.
Mhm.
whether they are captured, whether they buy the investigators, because money is at play nowadays in South Africa. Police can sell even people for who have lost their loved ones and take money from the killers. That's the level of crime that we have in South Africa. So we even doubt them in some instances because they take too long, too long. And for an example, there's a proclamation that was done with regards to Department of Education and Department of Health. Till today, the report is not out.
Mm.
And I've seen the other proclamation. It was done during COVID time, investigation for the Department of Sports and Culture, and even public works. They are still not there. The report.
Mhm.
It's a problem.
It's a big one because justice delayed is justice
Justice
denied.
denied.
Mhm. Now, Commissar, we look at 7 cases within one municipality that now the SIU is investigating, and you've also cited the issue of the hiring of unqualified individuals or officials into position of power or responsibility in the municipality. Now, how far are we with this, or how rife is this problem in the municipality? Because I understand the treasurer general of the ANC Youth League as well, whom was interviewed by the NYDA, also had issues to do with, being appointed without due qualification in the Mbombela local municipality. You've already stated that there are delays when it comes to the SIU investigation, but now where are we? Do we still have those a employees or officials without qualifications in the municipality, or they have already been asked to step aside or have been suspended?
No, they are still there, and there's a lot of them in all municipalities. I think we have seen a report from the public protector about pushback rate, the finding
Yes,
that they even at LEC, which requires
there is
a
worse.
matric
there's no
and,
metric.
and a secretariat
Yeah.
certificate computer at what, they go and fetch people without matric. While people with matric who come from TVET, colleges and what not, administrative diploma and certificate,
Mhm,
they are languishing on the street.
mhm,
So they are there. Even in Bombera, they are still there. There's a young white man called Port Hitter.
mhm.
He does not have qualification, but they are not looking at him because he's white and he's holding a very
Mm.
strategic position. And it can't be that 30 years or 31 years into democracy, even if he was coming from or the apartheid regime, he does not have qualification because institutions provide you with an opportunity to learn and uplift yourself.
You can't use the color of his skin
You
for
can't
to
use the
that
color of the
advantage. Yeah.
skin. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's a lot. I've seen currently a report in Middleburg. There's a general manager, community services, executive director. The MEC didn't concur with her because she does not have the necessary qualification. But what is happening is that the cadre deployment policy
Mm.
is it's killing the municipality. And as a result, if you have incompetent and unqualified managers, you will not get it right with the proper administration that will give you clean audit. You will not get it right with the clean administration that will ensure that you deliver quality services to the people, because these people are clueless. Technical side, you put a person who has no technical know-how
Mm.
of the water industry. IT side, you do that.
Dololo.
and administered in terms of the CFO, who must also do annual financial statement and make sure that there's compliance on everything before the Auditor General comes. You put the less
Dololo.
qualified. So it's a problem. We won't get it. That's why
Yeah.
all the municipalities in their majority have either qualified or unqualified, some even disclaimer audit finding, because they are not run by competent and qualified people.
Mhm.
And most of them, they think that if they get unqualified audit, it's clean. No, it's still an unwanted audit. What we want is clean audit, that
yes.
every cent was accounted for. Everything that was said it will be done, it was done according. That is clean audit.
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah. And going forward, how do you plan to protect whistleblowers, Commissar? Because whistleblowers tend to be the target, and they're somehow, sometimes, eventually eliminated. How do you plan as the EFF to protect, um, whistleblowers in this regard? Because these are the people that uh, give us an intel about corruption that may happen in any institution of government.
No, it's simple, especially with regards to whistleblowers in government, corruption that is taking place in government. You don't reveal your sources.
Mhm.
You keep it to yourself. You don't even share with the next colleague. You just share with him or her the information that now we've got this, because indeed you must protect them. And the only protection is that he or she must not be known that she unleashed the information or
Mhm.
the dossier. So it does not need people who are chachara. It needs
Yeah.
proper
Need decorum.
discipline,
Yeah.
leadership that respect the rights of those people. Because you see people nowadays, they kill people,
Mhm.
nothing happen. Like whistleblowers in the case of crime, a person can see that Titus is the one who killed Coren. I was there. But once you become a witness and not protect, they come and shoot
They
Titus.
even shoot you in the courtroom.
Yes.
Mm.
So we protect them. Sources are not revealed. We protect them very high.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the outcome of the SIU investigation report on COVID-19 PPEs. We understand that in the Department of Culture, Sport and Recreation in Mpumalanga, there were tender irregularities when it comes to issuing or procurement of COVID-19 PPEs. What do we know about? What can you tell us about this report regarding the COVID-19 PPEs?
Yeah. Remember, it's the EFF again
Mhm.
who stood up and raised the issue of corruption in the procurement of COVID-19 PPEs. And we invited
Mhm.
the SIU then because we saw that the former Prima was not helping us
Mhm.
to do investigation department per department just on that period until after the COVID to determine or establish how the monies were used. Because I'm telling you, people were misusing money like nobody's business. The issue of sports, arts, and culture is about fumigation.
Mm.
They will go. There was a time where there was a lockdown
Mhm.
for a period of, I don't remember, 3 months or 5 6 months.
Mhm.
Uh, and lockdown means you must all sit at home or stay at home.
Mhm.
So what were you fumigating there
Mm.
in the libraries?
Esh. And they
Because there's
fumigate.
no bar.
Yeah,
Mm.
they fumigated areas where, in fact, they fumigated a smaller size than the actual size. But when they go to coating, they increase the size.
That is ballooning. That's what I said to you. They master this thing.
Yeah.
This guy all the time. That's what we must fight big time on every day in terms of the pricing and follow up whether the code is according, because they master this thing. These guys.
So money was spent on fumigation, whereas there was no need, in fact, for fumigation because people were at home.
You can find that even the fumigation that was done there, it was not done at all.
It was just on paper.
It was just on paper. Maybe it was done one room there in one library there, but the rest was not done. So the report, we welcome the report because there are also officials from public works who were involved in that. They are also on suspension about that. But as I've said, that the law must kick in, and it can't just be a report, and no consequences. We must see people arrested. During the time of Scorpion, it was fine because you will see the Scorpion vehicles, the Golf Way, Force, what, coming straight into the provincial government, taking an official from the office and so. So at least some officials were afraid to get into corruption because they are afraid of being embarrassed in front of other fellow staff members. So now,
yeah, it's quite bad. And thanks very much for always being on the forefront of exposing corruption and raising the alarm in the benefit or for the benefit of the poor and the marginalized, Commissar.
No, thank you very much. And we must know every time that once we post something, we start on Twitter and so forth, we have evidence. We always tell them that.
You don't just blow hot air.
You don't just blow a hot air. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why we are vindicated on this one and many others. Yes.
Okay, so what can we look forward to now? From here, where to?
Our hard work. There's a lot on the table that we are dealing with. I've got an issue that is a priority of a SEZ board, Goma's SEZ board, a special economic zone, where the board interviewed a board member and appointed he or she, I'll not tell you right now, to be a CEO, which is a conflict of interest. How can a board member interview themselves among themselves and get a candidate among themselves? It's an unfair advantage to add. But there's a lot. We'll keep you posted. If you follow us, you'll see.
Absolutely.
Including in other municipalities.
No, thank you very much, because the EFF played a very instrumental role in exposing this laptop heist. Without the EFF, perhaps this would have gone unnoticed as well.
Yeah.
But thank you very much, Commissar, for coming through. And thank you very much as well, the people of South Africa, and the world for tuning in to this week's installment of the EFF Podcast. We've come to the end of the show. Please do show us some love on the EFF Podcast by subscribing. We've come to the end of the show. My name is Titus Tsungu. Until we meet again, good. Thank you.
Thank you.